Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And before we start the video, I really want to say really quickly before I start this. So yeah, this is gonna be the Superman marathon. Um, Even though it's not gonna really be a marathon because this is gonna be all the videos are gonna be posted within the next 2 days. Um, well, I guess, but um, the reason why I'm doing the Superman films now instead of something, like the Star Trek films or something like that is because one, I don't have all the Star Trek films yet, at least on Blu-ray, so I really want to get that done first. And second off, I really wanted to do Superman first, cause there is a new documentary coming out. I bet you guys have probably heard of it. It's called In Search of Tomorrow. Now, In Search of Tomorrow is a documentary talking about the sci-fi films of the 80s and 90s, made by the guy who made In Search of the Last Action Heroes and In Search of Darkness. So if you guys want to hear more about that, just probably look up on YouTube In Search of Darkness or In Search of Tomorrow, and then you'll probably find more stuff about that. This part was recorded after, so um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the Superman marathon, and see you guys hopefully with the next part today. See you guys then. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and finally we are doing the Superman marathon. Now, what this is basically just my reviews of the first four Christopher Reeve Superman films. Now, we're obviously going to start off with Superman the movie, which came out on December 15th, 1978. I vividly remember that date ever since I was like 10. That was probably the only date, like the specific date of a film that I've remembered throughout all my childhood. Um, this was made on a budget of $55 million. It grossed over $134 million in the U.S. box office, and worldwide it made over $300 million. This was directed by Richard Donner, which you guys may remember from all four Lethal Weapon films and The Goonies. And also The Omen, which came out before this. So quickly, the plot. Just before the destruction of the planet Krypton, scientist Jor-El, played by Marlon Brando, sends his infant son Kylo on a spaceship to Earth, raised by kind Jonathan and Martha Kent. Young Clark, played by Christopher Reeve, discovers the source of his superpowers, and moves to Metropolis to fight evil. As Superman, he battles the villainous Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman, while as as his human counterpart, reporter Clark Kent, he tries to woo co-worker Lois Lane, played by Margot Kidder. Now, I'm just gonna say it right now, I love this film. Um, it is a absolute classic. I highly doubt if you're gonna find one person that actually dislikes this film. It's that good. Let's talk about the cast really quickly. The late Christopher Reeve, plays both Superman and Clark Kent. Well, Superman has his alter ego Clark Kent. Um, he is fantastic in all four films, which I will probably most likely talk about as the films go on. Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, she does fantastic as well. Um, she does probably the best Lois Lane I've ever seen. Um, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, he's a very good Lex Luthor. Probably the best Lex Luthor I've ever seen. Marlon Brando as Jor-El. I think he just came off the back of. Um, I think he just came off the back of, I believe, The Godfather as well. Jackie Cooper as Perry White. He is he's very off temper, let's say. He basically shouts all of his dialogue, and it's freaking hilarious. Mark McClure as Jimmy Olsen. You guys may remember him not only from the Superman films, but from another series I will be planning on doing in the future, and that is Back to the Future. He plays Marty's brother. I forgot what his name was. I'm gonna have to rewatch those films again. Um, um, so yeah, this is a classic film. Um, as you guys probably have heard on several documentaries on this film, um, the budget I believe was at I think it was at like around 10 million, and it eventually the budget came around 55 million, which at the time was huge. Um, so really quickly, fun fact about the film. This is gonna be a new thing I'm gonna be doing for all the reviews I'm gonna do. Um, is like a little fun fact. For each film. Um, so the fun fact I'm gonna do for Superman the movie is the original script had over 500 pages long. Was over 500 pages long. But eventually the script came down to I think about a 250 page. It's still long, but it wasn't as long as it was. Which again, over 500 pages long. Jeez, I can't believe what that film was gonna be. It was probably be over 10, um, over like 10 hours long. Um, now the main thing that people will talk about any of the Superman films is the flying effects. Um, to put it simply, they are fantastic in the first three. Four we'll talk about later. Um, but but like the flying effects, they create a new technique called Zoptic, which is basically someone is on wires, aka Christopher Reeve, um, and he's basically I believe he's sitting in front of a rear projection, and they're just you know getting the shot that they need, while also so basically it's basically shooting the guy on wires while also having a weird projection in the background, which creates a very good effect. Which if you want a good example, when Lois dies at the end, and when Superman like turns around and starts flying towards the screen, that was a example of Zoptic, and I think that was really good. Um, but really, all the flying scenes are very good. Um, it's a little bit rougher on the edges for this one since this was obviously the first film that they made it for, but I think it's still very good. It's very fast paced, unlike as well. It's a lot quicker than the next two. Um, but yeah, this review is going to be a two-parter, or maybe a three-parter. I don't know. I'm aiming more towards a two-parter. So let's first talk about this fantastic 4K Blu-ray, which not only celebrate the 80th anniversary of Superman, which it shows right there, but this also celebrate the 40th anniversary of Superman the movie. So there's the front, the spine, other spine, the back. Um, Same for the inside. I already got the code anyway, so I don't know why I'm getting so scared about this. Um, I like the fact that the Blu-ray disc is a blue. I believe this was the old Blu-ray disc, and the 4K disc is red. It shows that Superman. Well, one, it shows Superman's main colors, which is red and blue, but it also shows that he's like a hero of the United States, which I really appreciate. This is obviously a 4K scan of the film. I believe, from what I've heard, the 4K disc it actually has the original mix in Dolby Digital. Well, you could like hook it up to a sound. You could hook it up to like a big speaker, and it would actually sound really good. Which I think is gonna be great when I actually get a sound system. Um, um, but yeah, this I believe I don't know if the 4K disc has it, but I also know that the Blu-ray disc has the special edition, which came out in 2000. Which basically adds, I think about actually, hold up a second. Let's because I got this Blu-ray, which we'll be talking about in the next part. Um, the special edition is 151 minutes long, and the regular theatrical cut is 153 minutes long. So that's about, I would say, 8 minutes of footage, I think, put back into the special edition, and then obviously the extended edition, which is basically the TV version, is 188 minutes long, which is, I believe, it's over 3 hours long. Um, Special features for I believe the 4K disc, commentary by producer Peter Spangler and executive producer Elias Solkine on both 4K and Blu-ray disc. The making of Superman the movie 1978 TV special, theatrical trailers, TV spot, and more. I think it might show more on here. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. Um, Overall, I think this is a fantastic Blu-ray. Well, even a 4K. Um, Even though on mine there's a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of damage on the side, but really that's the only bit of damage on the case itself. Everything else is pristine. Um, um, yeah. Um, the villains. Really quickly to kind of go back on them. The villains are really good. Like I said, Gene Hackman was great. His two lackeys I think were really funny. Um, but we'll talk a little bit more about them in the second part, which we'll talk about the TV version. The special edition. I don't know. I still think that Superman the movie is a great film, and I'm not saying that the special edition is bad, but I certainly prefer the theatrical cut over the special edition. Um, Not saying it's, uh, like I said, not saying it's a bad version of it, but I personally prefer the theatrical over it. Um, they have added scenes from the TV version into the special edition, which I believe has a scene of. I know when Superman enters Lex's fortress, that's extended. What him entering the fortress, I believe, was all new. Um, um, but I believe the first part with the guns, the second part with the fire, and then the third part with the ice. I think that was all part of the TV version, which was added into the special edition. There's a scene near the beginning before Superman flies towards the screen for the first time, and that's between Superman and Jor-El. Um, and and then there's some other scenes after that. Um, but overall, I still think it's a good version. Um, and this I believe won the Oscar. Hold on. It won the Oscar for it got the Special Achievement Award for visual effects, I believe. Um, um, which is I think is well deserved for this film. But like it's hard pressed to find someone who does not like this film. I could see people who don't like 3 or 4 because they have bad moments in them, but I can't see anyone actually disliking this film as a whole. Nor is the Superman 2. But before we get on to Superman 2, next time we will be talking about the TV 3-hour version of Superman, the first one, which I got on this spiffy little Blu-ray from Warner Archive. Um, so yeah, so that was this is gonna be the first part of the whole Superman franchise. So this is gonna be the second part. Superman 2 will be a two-parter as well, talking about the theatrical cut and the Richard Donner cut. And then Superman 3 and 4 would get their own separate parts. So, stay tuned for those videos. But until then, hope you guys have a great time, and stay tuned for this part. Live long and prosper. Out.